life, or what could also be known as airlock, the movie. There are a lot of airlocks in this film. The plot of this movie is some astronauts find something, they bring it on board, they start tinkering with it, and they realise that they have made a grave mistake. Now, if that sounds familiar, that's because in 1979, Ridley Scott released a film called Alien, and science fiction and horror were never the same again. Now, the plot of life is basically exactly the same, but what this movie is a little bit different is it's almost like a procedural. This film happens relatively in real time, so sequence after sequence, things start to get more and more out of control. Now, director Daniel Espinosa, who is doing workman-like stuff here, but it is very slick, has amazing production design and cutting-edge special effects. So his realization of space here is definitely like Alfonso Cuarón's Gravity, and everyone is kind of floating around in a very realistic looking manner. As for the creature in this movie, that's what these movies really live and die on, and that's why Ridley Scott's film has endured for so long, and that's why we're getting Alien Covenant now, like 30 years later, even in just a couple of weeks, because the xenomorph was so scary, and that indelible, terrifying creation is still something that people have posters of on their wall. What we've got here is Calvin, which is definitely not as cool as the xenomorph, but is very interesting. So it's a small little organism, and through the course of the film it's rapidly evolving, and half the fun of this movie is watching what kind of shape Calvin is going to take on next. Now, Calvin's foes are the astronauts in this movie, played by some really good looking actors. It's almost like GQ goes to space. You got Jake Gyllenhaal here, who I thought, okay, Jake's doing this movie and he picks only seemingly good movies lately, so I thought that there would be something a little bit more substantial than what is really just a B-movie alien knockoff. Unfortunately, it's not the case, and he doesn't get a lot to do with his character. His character likes being isolated in space and doesn't really want to come back to Earth. Rebecca Ferguson, who's kind of like the co-headline here as well, she's trying to do an Ellen Ripley thing here, but she just doesn't have the same character work that we got from that film. She does, though, capture the fear very well, and I think that she is a rock-solid actress. One of the other big draws here is the involvement of Ryan Reynolds. I don't like him in this film, if I'm being honest, because every line delivery he does is as a smartass. And I just don't kind of buy Ryan Reynolds' shtick as an astronaut in space. But this is from the same writers of Deadpool, so that's probably why he is involved in this one. What this movie also has that is rock and roll is an R rating in America, or an MA rating here, and that means violence. And so when Calvin does dispatch people, it is pretty grotesque, and there will definitely be some squirming in the cinema. But it's so derivative that I can't really give it anything higher than a 3. But if you do like science fiction movies, and especially ones with a bit of a harder edge and creature features, then you can do worse than this, so go and check it out.